Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love, American made.
Listen up, Autothoughts and Decepticlowns. You're listening to Prime Cuts, a non-linear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Audrey.
I'm your other host, Nero.
And we have finished watching Season 1, I do not care if they're called chapters, of Cyberverse.
Didn't take very long. It's a short show.
That's sort of how it goes with 15-minute long episodes.
We shot...
I tell you what, I ran through Adventure Time super quick.
Oh yeah.
When I actually sat down to watch all of it.
You know, I know how good Adventure Time is. It is. I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing because it is hard for me to get past those early seasons.
Yeah.
Because it is so it hasn't evolved into what it became yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy not to spend this episode talking about Adventure Time, but I think it's easier to watch them in retrospect, actually, because you know what's to come.
That's true. You're not just watching it going well, that was just 11 minutes of weird bullshit.
Of nothing. Yeah.
But all the shit I see about these miniseries they've been making and the Fiona and Cake things. Wow, they're doing some great stuff over here. I should probably get around to watching that. And I never have.
I personally really like Adventure Time, but regardless of whether or not you watched it, it basically launched the last 15 to 20 years of cartoons. Yeah, there's been barely a single cartoon that has been released post Adventure Time that has not been influenced by it in some form.
Everyone who is in the animation industry worked on Adventure Time, pretty much. All of the big movers and shakers had some role there. Rebecca Sugar was on Adventure Time. Yep,
she did the original stuff. Ian Jones Quarterly was on Adventure Time. And if they weren't directly influenced by Adventure Time, then they worked for people who were. Basically.
Well, it's impossible to say whether or not Cyberverse has ties to Adventure Time, but it probably does somehow. Like I said, this is the first time in any of these that I've watched something completely blind, pretty much. All the rest of these seasons we've done, I know I have watched it all at least once before, and often multiple times before. But I simply had no expectations of Cyberverse other than the rumblings I had heard about it and some of the scattered fucked up things I had seen, like the Velocitron episode.
Yeah, though we have barely touched the surface.
I'm excited.
Scratch the surface of the things that Cyberverse goes into. It the very funny thing, and we've talked about this before about Cyberverse, is that it will frequently go into these horrifying things, and then the next episode will be nothing ever happened, and it's hey, wait, can we go back for a sec?
Nope.
What?
12-minute episodes. We got to keep it moving. We got to keep going. We can't dwell on the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Chugging. And it was an interesting experience. I liked it. I'm not gonna say, I haven't seen all of it yet, so I can't say really what my opinion is on the show as a whole, because on the grand scheme of things, I haven't actually seen that much of any of these characters other than Windblade and Bumblebee, right? They haven't really been around for me to kind of get to know as their own incarnations. And I mean, the Seekers, other than Slipstream, they're all just sort of the same guy, functionally, right?
Except for Thundercracker. Thundercracker's a bit
true.
different because Thundercracker is...
He is...
Thundercracker cannot catch a fucking break in the show.
Specifically more pathetic. And yeah, there's little bits that set them apart, but anyone past Slipstream and Thundercracker is just that's just plain guy. They don't really have too much personality beyond that. And I'm sure eventually...
they can't even remember their genders, so...
Yeah, they just keep switching them around. So, I mean, but I liked what I saw. I think the show looks nice with its clearly much lower budget than say Prime. I am happy that there's no humans. I think it gives the whole thing a weird vibe, but it is, we don't have time to dwell on that side of things. So we're just chugging all the way through,
Absolutely.
And I think the action looks good for the most part. I would say perhaps my biggest qualm, and the thing I might be beginning to realize here, I think I don't like most versions of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I don't like Cyberverse Bumblebee.
You don't like animated Bumblebee either, do you?
I think animated Bumblebee is more annoying on purpose, and he is like, I am annoyed by him, but I understand the philosophy behind his character. I understand why he's like that. I don't think this Bumblebee is annoying on purpose. I think he's annoying on accident.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that.
It's hard to say. Because the thing is, I think he's a goofy guy. He's a goofy guy who does goofy things, and that annoys some characters. And clearly, he's meant to be kind of annoying and frustrating as like a concept, right? A guy who can't remember something. My main problem, the main barrier here for me, is the way that they have done the radio voice in this show.
Yeah,
it's so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
He's so bad at impressions. None of these voices are good. And that's really my main beef with this Bumblebee.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Unlike Nero, I have seen Cyberverse before, at least the first 2 seasons. After that, I can't remember how much I watched. I haven't watched all of it. I know that much.
You haven't seen like the big finale, right? Like the huge 40-minute episode or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't. I certainly haven't seen that, but Cyberverse is an interesting show because it's kind of a placeholder in a way. I think that similarly that Earthspark is now, where they're like trying now, like since like 2018. When the Bumblebee movie came out, to sort of figure out where the franchise is going as a whole. And you see that in the shows, you see it in the extended universe stuff, you see it in the movies as well. So this is unlike like Prime, for example, which is my like favorite of the shows. I don't think either of these necessarily knew what their voices were going to be. Either Cyberverse or Earthspark knew what their voices were going to be before they started, and started just sort of like throwing spaghetti at the wall. I think Cyberverse does it in a smart way through these very short episodes, right? Like as Nero mentioned before, clearly this does not have the kind of budget. It was originally just a web series. It did eventually air on TV, but originally was a web series. Didn't have the same sort of budget, but but that allowed it to be able to tell like this really snappy story, like we said, very quickly, and see what was landing with its viewers. So I think that it was actually done in a smart way. It does mean that, especially in this first season, things aren't as fleshed out as they could be, but at the end of it, we start seeing some of the like real plot that's going to happen. Yeah, I do think, I will say, I know we haven't seen a ton of him, but even from this season, Cyberverse does have one of my favorite Starscreams. As the Starscream enjoyer, he's just so fucking bitchy.
Oh, I've loved every scene that he is in particular.
Yeah.
He is maximum, like, full burn bridges mode at all times, which I appreciate.
More than that, he's astoundingly catty.
Yes, he is.
In a way that, like, few other Starscreams are. Most Starscreams are, like, mean and pathetic and jealous and, like, rage-filled. But he's just, like, he's a mean girl.
He is not a Starscream who hides who masks his displeasure behind a sycophantic shell like Prime does sometimes. If he is very loud and opinionated and bitchy about to everyone's face.
Yeah, and he's like more personal than like G1 is, right? Like G1 I would say is probably the second cattiest.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Prime's pretty catty, but
I think I wouldn't describe, he is catty, but he's also like so sopping wet meow meow, and like also sort of sinister at his most competent.
yeah, that's fair.
This Starscream does not seem particularly sinister. He is just like the fuck. He is always looking to fucking command the room and tell everyone exactly why they suck.
Yeah. Anyway, he's I don't know how they did it, how they created a bitchier version of Starscream that had ever been made before, but they did it, which is like hats off to the Cyberverse team for that.
This version of Grimlock so far is the biggest departure for me,
Yeah.
because he is I mean, and it's not even like the role he plays is that much of a departure. Grimlock is often like a kind of adventurous
Commander.
character who goes off on his own sometimes and has these crazy adventures with the Dinobots, but he never really has this kind of like Flash Gordon-esque personality. This Grimlock is not really a brute. He's not particularly violent. He's not arrogant or any of the other things.
At least in his base form.
Yeah, when he goes Dino mode, he gets a little bit of that old G1 Grimlock flavor, but it's not nearly as acrimonious as some Grimlocks can be.
Yeah.
But he is a fun spin on the character that still keeps the core of his character intact. You know, I don't mean to always mention Rid 2015 Grimlock in a disparaging manner when talking about
It just comes out.
but like, come on, that I don't know who that guy is. Like, he's a fine character. I remember he's one of the aspects of the show I actually end up having some fun with, but like, I don't know that man. I don't know that guy. And yeah, like Windblade, of course. A few of the characters are very familiar. Windblade is pretty similar to her IDW self. Shockwave, I would say, is very much Prime Shockwave. He's obviously a little bit less scary than Prime Shockwave is, right? Prime Shockwave is basically a Terminator with a genius brain. And he's way less flat than that Shockwave is. And I think Prime Shockwave might still be my favorite Shockwave, either that or animated. But I liked this Shockwave a lot. I think we saw the most of him out of any of the big name Decepticons.
Him or Starscream.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously towards the end, Shockwave takes on a big role. And we get a little bit of that Shockwave is doing fucked up experiments flavor. I love that shit. He's making Frankensteins over there.
Yeah, I also like that this Shockwave like gets annoyed.
Yeah, he is not as, like I said, he's not as flat as a lot of other Shockwaves are. Like, once again, Prime Shockwave never gets annoyed, pretty much. He is unflappable. He is always logical. But this Shockwave,
he is like a Vulcan.
Yeah, but this Shockwave, you know, he's got an expressive little eyebrow. He can get a little pissy sometimes. So like, is that the most possible Shockwave? No, but it is a fun character.
Yeah.
Oh god, who else is there? I mean, you know, I still don't quite like this Prime we have, specifically the voice. The voice is taking me a lot of getting used to, because it's just like, it feels like mobile game Peter Cullen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that
Peter
is
Cullen.
kind of like the idea of it, like, I'm not gonna lie.
Which is weird, because I don't feel that way really about
Megatron.
I feel like he's doing something a little different, but
I think you just have a weird hang up about Peter Cullen's voice, maybe.
Look, it's it's an imitation. Sometimes there are things you can't imitate, right?
Sure.
But there are guys who make entire careers out of sound like Peter Cullen. This guy, I think this Optimus needs to lean more into the Captain Kirk, right? Because that's kind of what I get from him vibes wise in terms of his like design and obviously all of the Star Trek stuff, all the Star Trek pastiche on the Ark. But like we just he needs a little bit more softness. I think he's always bombastic. He's always 100%. I need to see him below 100 to kind of get a hold on him. And I think it's tough because I can't really talk about my feelings on any of their characters. Oh, I guess there's Shadowstriker.
Oh yeah, Shadowstriker, one of the best original characters created for a show in years.
Yeah, like once again, I'm pretty sure there was some fucking random BotCon exclusive toy named Shadowstriker like 10 years ago or something.
Doesn't count.
But this is the first actual version of that character. And yeah, she's great. I love an unhinged woman with problems.
This is a show about evil women, I will say.
Yeah, Slipstream is great. It's like she's the commander of the Seekers, and she's smarter than the rest of them, but like only by a little bit. She's still. I think a lot about when she tried to chase the spaceship into space, and fell out of the sky because her plane mode can't go to space. So then she had to go get her own spaceship to chase after them.
Just like Iron Man.
That's very
Classic.
like that is a very characterful choice to me. Of just like she gets tunnel vision. She wants to kill Windblade so bad.
Yeah, and I mean, we see this again in the last episode, or second to last episode, when everyone gets drawn out from the ship again by their arch nemesis doing gay little dances that piss them off.
Yeah. I think, I mean, the thing that I am wondering about, because I feel like season 2 is actually where the show starts, because so much of this season is Bumblebee memory fun and going back and learning about all these characters like beforehand. So I am looking forward to seeing what they actually start doing instead of just what they have done,
Yeah.
It feels like we can't get anywhere with these characters until we're at a status quo that can support that. And right now we finally reach it at the end of this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I have any other thoughts. I don't think so. Do you want...
I will say the thing about this being a placeholder, I was thinking about it, but then Earthspark being a placeholder, and I think that their format and their release is the thing that makes them feel the most like that. This being a web series and Earthspark being a streaming series, because like it's weird. We know that really television as it existed like even 10 years ago doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of gone. But it still feels cheap or like not as impactful if it's just like, oh, here's a show on streaming or here's a show released on the web. And it's just like, well, it doesn't feel as real. It's the same thing with movies, and like eventually that will stop being the case, I'm sure, but it's like, I look at Cyberverse, and it's just like, well, this seems like a side project. This doesn't seem like the main thrust of the franchise. It isn't. The movies, I feel, are the main wing of the franchise now. That is where the effort and the money goes the most, because that's what gives them the most returns.
Yeah, I mean, listen, summer blockbusters are always going to... make enough money on their own, and B, sell more toys.
Yeah, though I do know that along with every other summer blockbuster that released this year, Rise of the Beast underperformed compared to the other movies. But that's really more of a side effect of everything is getting too damn expensive. Like how they were surprised that they made a $370 million Indiana Jones movie somehow, and it only made $10 million over its budget, so it's a flop. But like, where did that money go? It's an Indiana Jones movie.
I wish every studio a very die.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's it for Cyberverse thoughts. It's just hard to like it's so brief and so it goes by so fast that there's not a lot to I like the one human that we cited this season. The single human child.
Oh, right.
Never gonna see that again.
That was a hologram. It was actually a hallucination.
Remember when they blacked out an entire city to bring Grimlock back to life? No
Yeah, it was
consequences
fine.
for that,
Everyone
but
was
it's fine.
asleep. Everyone was asleep. It's fine.
Everyone in Cyberverse goes to sleep at 6 p.m.
Uh-huh.
Wake up.
Sure fucking do.
They wake up at like 4 a.m. and they do their whole work day, and also everyone sleeps like a log. Everyone is an extremely heavy sleeper in Cyberverse.
Yeah. And what about it?
I wish, yeah, honestly, seems like a nice place to live. Just relaxing, nothing to worry about. Don't even know about the gigantic alien fleet moving in. It's fine. But I suppose now it's time for some questions. Which,
Yeah.
we don't have any on Twitter, which who knows how much longer we're going to have a Twitter if Mr. Musk goes through with that and make everyone pay for it.
Absolutely fucking not.
I don't know, Chief. I'm, that'll be
He's
the
got
thing.
jokes.
Yeah.
Listen, I will. I never gave him credit before, but I'll give it to him now. Elon's got jokes.
Yeah, funny joke, sir. Haha. Why aren't you laughing? Oh, you're serious, are you? Huh? Okay. Cool. Did you see the thing about him interrupting Grimes's Cyberpunk
Yes.
2077
Oh my god.
session?
Oh
with
my
a
god.
flintlock
Why is he
pistol?
not in jail? Why is he not in jail?
Well,
I mean, I know
presumably
the
because he
answer, but
didn't
holy
know-
shit.
Also, because he didn't know how to fire that fucking thing. It wasn't loaded. It was a flintlock pistol.
He threatened people's lives. Whether or not that was a credible threat,
That's
that
true.
man should be in jail.
And he was like, "Put me in the game," and they're like, "Well, we have this soft with this stuff we put with these cybernetics we can put in people's heads." And like a fucking baby brain. He's like, "Oh, just like Neuralink. Okay, I'm satisfied now."
He's so fucking stupid. It's unreal. It's unreal. I can't keep talking about this. Let's ask some questions.
Bro, those things cause us a side effect called cyberpsychosis. Is that just like Neuralink?
Okay. From Aurora, we have to stop.
We gotta go.
It's once again that time of the season. Again, a bit quicker than last time, but hey, not complaining. So one and all, I once again present the Velocitron Memorial Prime Cuts Awards. Categories for nominations include Worst Bumblebee Voice Impression.
Oh God.
Okay, I can't remember what it actually was. I think it was like Schwarzenegger. I think it was I'll Be Back.
Yeah,
But,
there was
like,
a really bad Schwarzenegger.
Any of like the actual movie lines that they simply could not afford to license.
Yeah. Anytime he does a Bogart impression.
Yeah.
Personally, the one I am most annoyed by is anytime he breaks out the hillbilly accent. It's just not funny. It doesn't sound funny. It's not a good. None of his voice. Cast a guy who makes good voices. If you're gonna do this, that's step one. This is like sub TikTok material he's putting out here. It's fucking absurd.
All right. Well, moving on from Nero's personal vendetta.
I hate that man, and I will do everything in my power to make his life miserable. No, he's fine.
Most valuable MVS, most valuable seeker. That is Slipstream without question.
Yeah, like she took the most initiative. She made the most gains.
She's actually gotten stuff done. Now, she hasn't gotten a lot done, but she's gotten things done. And she's held her own in fights. And
she has the best, like, fight record for sure.
Yeah. And she actually has a brain that she uses.
Sometimes, when it's not consumed by Windblade.
Yeah, when it's not, oh, you want to fuck me so bad it makes you look stupid. Least valuable seeker, LVS.
Okay. I know that the instinct here is to say Thundercracker, right?
Uh-huh.
Because he takes the most L's.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say Thrust, because Thrust doesn't do fucking anything in this season. So like, yeah, Thundercracker got his ass beat literally every time he was on screen, including once by like a fucking shockwave drone or whatever, or no, by Teletrine X. But Thrust didn't do anything. Thrust didn't even show up for work.
I'm still gonna give it to Thundercracker. You can't take that many L's and come up on top, or not rock bottom.
I mentioned it. Him being beaten by Teletran X does actually make him the least valuable Seeker. That's just fucking embarrassing. It's like a orb. You got beaten by Wheatley, like in a fight.
Yeah.
In a physical fight.
Most gruesome off-screen injury. Probably just like the entire destruction of Velocitron.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad, but you know, everyone just got Thanos snapped there. We've had way gnarlier depictions of the cosmic rust, right? Like, remember how Ironhide dies in the third movie? That shit's fucked up. I'm gonna go with the voice box removal actually, because it's gnarly.
Oh, you're right. That was a cutaway.
He gets in there.
That is a cutaway, and it is a cutaway that makes it worse.
Like, yeah, because you don't see anything, you just hear it, and also you can just imagine, like, oh, he's just doing that with his fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
There's no laser blast, there's no sword, he's just ripping it out.
All right, Nero, this next one's all you. Most egregiously incorrect dinosaur fact.
The most egregious one is still Pangea 65 million years ago. That's fucking... How do you get that wrong? How do you fuck up?
You're sick.
How do you fuck up that bad? Like, come on. This is element... Watch Bill Nye. It's in Bill Nye. Oh, God. My head... I am lightheaded. We must move on.
Okay, after that is, our last one here for this round is Best Teletran X Moment.
The 3 minutes that it looked like he was dead.
I'm going to go for that as well, but only because he goes off, like I said before, like the guy in Skull Island.
Yes.
Where he's like, I'm going to save this, and then just dies uselessly. It's pretty funny, you have to admit.
Yeah. There's also him, once again, beating up Thundercracker physically in a fight, which is very funny.
It's pretty good. There's also, I guess, his, like, conversation with Teletran 1.
Yeah,
which is good because of Teletran 1.
Yeah, that's not on him. That's on Teletran 1.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay, that's it. Thank you,
All right,
Aurora.
a real one. No more Teletran 1. Best jokes. God,
yeah, pour one out. Pour one out for the funniest character in this show.
We gotta fucking hear Teletran X now. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Aurora, as always, for putting these together. It's always a bunch of fun. Nero from Disney Minus asks, will Blur be the fastest and outrun his death from earlier in the season? No.
It look unlikely.
I can tell you, no.
That dude is dead as fuck. You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that
yeah?
Blur? Do you know how do you remember how DW1 Blur dies? It's kind of similar. He dies evacuating people when Unicron is consuming Cybertron.
Oh yeah.
Much
Everyone
more heroic
dies.
death, frankly.
Everyone dies.
Not the people he saves.
Yeah.
The comatose Omega Supreme does die though, because he's just sitting somewhere. That's sad. Oh, R.I.P. big man.
Starscream.
He also goes out in a cool way, though.
He does go out in a cool way, and debatably, he's not 100% dead.
Soundwave fucking taps into the afterlife. That's cool.
Yeah. From Slipstream Sam, real? What if they went into Bumblebee's mind? They found... when they went into Bumblebee's mind, they found personifications of his core emotions, like the hit movie Inside Out.
Okay, so I have an idea for this. Because I just recently watched the episode of Teen Titans with all of the internal Raven personalities that are different colors. We take all of the various Bumblebee redecos and cast them as bits of Bumblebee's personality. Cliffjumper is obviously anger.
Could you... I missed... You cut out for a second there.
I recently watched the episode of...
Yeah, with Raven. I got that part.
So we cast all of the Bumblebee redecos of the past as bits of his personality. And Cliffjumper is obviously rage.
Yes, I see.
Because-
I see where you're coming from.
Because he's always the redeco of Bumblebee these days.
Right. I mean, how many, besides Cliffjumper,
Okay,
how
so
many
there's-
redecos are there?
There's Cliffjumper, there's Bugbite, there's Wasp.
Okay, I don't know these people. I don't know these men.
Wasp is NV because he's green. Bugbite is like... I think Bugbite is fucking despair. Bugbite is like nihilist Bumblebee. He's like depressed Bumblebee. I thought there were more Bumblebee redeck. There must be more Bumblebees. Oh, there's like Glyph and Tap Out, I guess. We'll get some real deep cuts there. But look, the point is, you could make a version of Inside Out with Bumblebee redecos. You could do it. I wouldn't want it to be this Bumblebee.
I'm nodding my head.
I want it to be Prime Bumblebee. I like Prime Bumblebee. I just remember how this Bumblebee makes like the electronic noises, but he doesn't. But he's got a mouth, so it looks fucked up. I don't like that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Mimus the Gay Daphnis asks, if you had to go to the grocery store with one transform, who would you go with? Does this answer change depending on where you go, i.e. a Trader Joe's versus a Walmart?
Shockwave will tell me the most logical deals.
I was literally going to say Shockwave because I know his ass is in and out of there as quickly as possible.
We do not need to go down the chip aisle. We have plenty of nutrition.
We have McDonald's at home. What?
Exactly. Like he will keep you on task. He will keep you away from frivolous purchases. He will keep that bill low, and yet
yeah,
he
with
will
the
get you the best
inflation,
stuff.
with inflation the way it is right now, I need that man's couponing skills.
He already has the next fucking 3 months of meal planning set. He knows exactly what he's getting. I trust him.
He has the life hacking, money saving capabilities of a 1950s housewife and the racked match.
That's right. Shockwave as extreme couponer is wonderful to imagine.
It's pretty good. I'm enjoying this world we're creating.
Because, like, okay, so Shockwave, yeah, he's the logical, frugal one of the Decepticon command. Starscream is the fucking guy who's always asking to spend more money on, like, dumb bullshit.
The Starscream only buys brand name. And
Yes.
Shockwave's like, you motherfucker, just get Dr. Pepis.
The generic is just as good. There's literally no difference. It's about the prestige! I can't be seen drinking Dr. Bob.
Yeah. And a follow-up to that, sort of, from Cyber Aurora, what Transformers have a Costco card?
Ratchet.
Okay.
I don't know why. He's always old man coded, and I feel like Costco card is like old man behavior somewhat.
Okay, in this one, I think it's Slipstream because she is an army to feed and very little. Very little resources.
To keep those Seekers happy, you gotta bulk buy those fucking cup
Energon cubes.
Yeah, you gotta bulk buy that shit. Because holy shit, there are a lot of, including Seekers who just show up randomly in the middle of battles out of nowhere. Like, you gotta keep track of those guys. It's hard feeding an army of infinity planes that share a single brain cell.
Like, once again, like the Fates and Hercules with their eye passing it around.
Yeah, all of the Seekers share one brain cell. Slipstream gets one half, and the rest of them just kind of have to pass the other half around.
Yeah. Disney from... No. Nero from Disney Minus. Disney from Nero Minus.
Oh god, the Mirrorverse.
Nero from Disney Minus asks, which Transformers golf, which ones are members of the country club, and who are golfing at the country club where High School Musical 2 takes place? For those that fall in the last option, do they join in on musical numbers?
Okay. So, we know Mirage is in the country club. He's a bougie bitch.
Yes, absolutely. Sunstreaker as well.
Yes.
In this show, that is absolutely Starscream.
Oh, yeah, Starscream and the Coneheads.
I want to be very clear. Starscream does not golf. However, he is a member of the golf club, of the country club.
He literally, the Coneheads golf for him.
Yeah.
They're registered as his caddies, but he never touches the clubs. He's just there bitching about everyone else. You won't believe what Shockwave did to me the other day. Can you fucking believe this purple bitch?
Well, sipping on martinis. On Energon martini. Yeah.
Animated Megatron goes to the country club. But he doesn't golf. Or he does, but he's always... Animated Megatron exclusively uses the country club as a vector for gaining financial support from rich idiots. He's doing the sweet talk. He's doing the wine.
Yeah, listen. I'm a fundraiser. Okay, people didn't know that's my job. I know what it's like.
He's doing all that shit, and we know that he is a very well spoken Megatron, and he's sort of a more aristocratic Megatron.
Okay. High School Musical 2. I've never watched the High School Musical. I can't answer this.
Which one is the one at the golf club?
I assume it's High School Musical 2.
It is, but I can't remember the song that happens there, because the only one I remember from that movie is I Don't Dance, because that's the best one. I don't know. I feel like the ones... Rodimus is definitely the most likely Transformer to be in a musical. That's simply true. But I don't know, and I feel like he definitely would be Troy Bolton in High School Musical 2, stuck between two worlds of wanting to be a theater star, but also wanting to be a footballer, but also maybe wanting to be a golfer, and maybe wanting to move up in society.
Who else has main character syndrome? It really is. I mean, I guess Blur.
Yeah, Blur. I'm just imagining an IDW1 Blur musical biopic directed by Thundercracker. That's definitely out there somewhere. I can't get over the image of
what I was really seeking was his love. What is this?
Thundercracker should win every Oscar. That's what I think.
Well, he does.
The greatest cinematic voice of our time. He turns into an F-22 Raptor.
Listen, he can fit into the auditorium, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, they gotta clear a section for him. He's gotta sit in the back. He's transformed out of the parking lot. Buster accepts the award for him.
No, I mean, that's an actual panel in the comics.
God. We gotta move on, or else I'll just be thinking about IDW1 Thundercracker and smiling.
From Curly Straw Mystery, I was really enjoying the different premise for the series, and now it's just G1. If you could make up a new default setup for a Transformers series, what would it be?
It is kind of just G1 now, including the part where they're really not trying to be in disguise at all.
Well, why would they? There's no one to be disguised around.
That's true. There's no fucking point. I mean, okay, so obviously, that's one option. The other option is the Prime, clandestine infiltration shadow war that's all about keeping up the masquerade. I kind of, from what I know about Earthspark's whole setup, I kind of like it. It's a weird new direction. Well, yes, Earthspark has an interesting premise.
I want an IDW Phase 1, Phase 2 series. Forget the war. Fuck the war. I want to see what happens when the war is over.
Yeah, that is definitely the most interesting part of the comic. I think there is some good stuff in the earlier, pre John Barber era.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I love Phase 1 as well, but Phase 2 is where it gets spicy.
Post-war, you get a bunch of fucking political intrigue, you get a bunch of weird shit. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see what it actually looks like. Give me a show that actually looks like shows the concepts of democracy and peace and building a government from the ground up, basically.
And from what I understand, Earthspark is also kind of set post-war, but I want a post-war Cybertron series. I want
correct.
I basically do. I just want an adaptation of the Rid comics, maybe. Perhaps.
Listen, do I want Starscream to have a modicum of success ever in a show? Yeah, I do. Sorry.
Can my man catch a dub?
Sorry for being the Starscream enjoyer, but I would like for him to get a W at some point in a TV show. So yeah, give me the Rid comics. Also, like the again, like I know like I'm a particular Starscream enjoyer, but so is like most of this Transformers fandom. Starscream's like the single most popular character in the franchise.
The people love Starscream.
So if they want a series that's going to make bank, an adaptation of Rid would be pretty fucking good. And you can also do like there are ways that you can do like the other stuff without like going off in a different Lost Light series. You know,
Like,
you could still have Megatron and Optimus being weird and homoerotic with each other.
like
I think like
literally just make like a fucking weird political drama set on Cybertron. That's what the Robots in Disguise comic is. Like, just do it.
yeah, literally, give me Robot West Wing. I'm not joking. I'm like, I think starting with the trial would be so amazing. Like, I think that would like literally first episode open up on the trial.
Yeah, and like,
And then you could like flash back to see how everyone got in their position and like, you know, including Starscream, etc. But like, I think that would be so banger. Anyway, that's what I want.
Yeah, that is kind of the direction left they have to go, right? Like they could do some other stuff, I guess, but that's the shit that would go crazy. You'd have like disparate Decepticon splinter cells led by like different guys with different goals. Like there's a cell that Soundwave is leading, there's a cell that Shockwave is leading. All of your like weird B-list Decepticon leaders like Scorponok and Bludgeon, they're all out there doing shit. And like fuck, it's not like you won't have like any action to do. There's plenty of action to be had in a show like that.
Now, I will say there are two other directions that I think would be new premises that are less interesting to me, but like would be brand new premises. Mm-hmm. One of them is essentially Star Trek Transformers, where they don't go to Earth. So following a series of people maybe in the middle of the war, like with Star Trek and like Klingons and Romulans or whatever.
There are some. Do you know the War for Cybertron like novelizations or the aligned novelizations?
Yeah, I haven't read them, but yes, I
a couple
I know
of those
them.
Books are basically that. I think there's one where they go to like Quintessa. So like
right, exactly. So stuff like that. That's like much more of like a like. I'm sort of inspired by like Rom versus the Transformers. Right, where it's like IDW won more than any other part of the series, I think, of this franchise, except later parts maybe of G1, really explores what Cybertronians' roles are as members of an intergalactic community. And I think like that's interesting. And then the other thing I could do, which, you know, if they're going to go in for a penny, in for a pound, but might as well do it, give me the fucking Hasbro Cinematic Universe. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Give me a series where My Little Ponies and G.I. Joe and Gem and the Holograms and and the fucking Transformers are all there.
Yeah, like they can't be cowardly and keep the ponies and Jim off in their own corners. It all has to be in the same big slot. Correct.
You want to do the G.I. Joe? Fine. Give me the Hasbro Cinematic Universe. I am not joking.
Put those fucking wizards in the core of Cybertron, like in the comics. There's wizards down there.
Fucking, you have all D&D and magic as well. Don't think I forgot that you own Wizards of the Coast, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. Also, maybe what if you just adapt the Wreckers trilogy into like a miniseries? Just make a Wreckers trilogy animated series. Just do it.
That would go over so badly, Nero.
That would be catastrophic.
I admire your vision, but my God, would that be a waste of money?
It would be dreadful, but I think they should waste more money on cool shit that very few people will like.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. You'll have one fan.
But yes, my hope for a default setup for a Transformers series is the post-war era. Give me Robot West Wing or give me death.
Now what? It's cool. There's a lot of shit you can do.
Yeah. Completely different also from Cass's. Which Transformer would be most fascinated with IKEA? Swindle.
Scepter. Swindle.
That's a buffet.
Is it though? Like, all their shit works.
But it's so cheap and it's so easy to pocket stuff.
I guess the thing is that Swindle is like, I need to figure out what's the angle here. What are they getting out of it? And he finally understands, like, it's the meatballs. The meatballs are the key, Brawl. And Brawl's is like, what are you talking about?
He buys all the blahages and sells them to trans women at a huge
That's right.
upmark.
That's right. He's like, we will live like kings, Combaticons.
He's like, hey, RC.
Oh my god. IDW won our fucking badass murder lady RC.
You know she has like 5 blahages.
Oh yeah, all Aileron bought her all of them.
Yeah, whenever anyone comes over, she's like, they're ailerons, and ailerons like, they are not. And then finally from Veer again, from Disney Minus, piggybacking off of this being the question from Cass about the different premise for the series. What would be Decepticon team for this setting? Are they just a team of similar size as the Autobot team, or do they have grunts to be cannon fodder? Do the grunts have names and character arts? So each of the 3 that I suggested have different answers to this.
I made my suggestion already, which was the like disparate splinter cells of like sub factions led by like Scorponok and Soundwave and whatever and what have you, and like those are like 7 guys each tops, right? Like they're small,
right? And also like the idea of Decepticon teams is different in this sort of setting. In something like the Star Trek thing I mentioned, I think it would be really fun if like the Romulans and like the Klingons in Star Trek, that they did have these like parties that like they got into shit with sometimes.
Yeah, like you get a fucking what are those big ships called? What the
Warbirds?
Yeah, no, the ones that the scavengers fly. What is that class of ship again? It's like the...
Oh, yeah, I don't know what it... but I do know it's called the wet-ass pussy.
Yeah, the WAP, the Weak Anthropic Principle. But yeah, like, though, you encounter, like, Decepticons, like, raiding planets, or infiltrating planets, or doing some other Decepticon shit. Or you encounter... deserters or science teams or like other shit, right? Like, but I don't think Megatron is in that show. I don't think any of the like...
No, absolutely.
Or if he is like distant. He is fucking... They talk about him a lot. He's talked about all the time.
Right.
But he shows up like twice.
Yeah, exactly. And then for the the crossover, it's just G1, baby.
Yeah. Get all the guys in here. Pump that 80s nostalgia up.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for questions, which means we're wrapping up soon. But before we do, Nero is going to announce our next season.
In a move of shocking, I'm zagging on everyone. Who could have guessed? My choice is it's Transformers Animated Season 2. I just really like it. I think it's a good show. And also Season 2 has some fucking crazy episodes in it.
They just think it's neat.
I just think it's neat. I like it. Watching Teen Titans for Talk Cycles this past week has made me remember, oh yeah, Derek J. White was a really good like character designer. He made some weird fucking guys.
Yeah, we will be starting that in a couple weeks. Next week
look, Season 2... Look, let me tell you, Animated Season 2 has Swindle, Wreck-Gar, Starscream clones, Constructicons, the fucking Elite Guard, more Sentinel Prime.
You can have Starscream clones once.
They look, some of the show more than once, but some of them have a bad time. But yeah, season 2 animated coming next month. And hey, guest spot, if you want some guest spots, hit me up. I'll get you on the schedule. We can work it out. We'll
Yeah.
talk about like the one where all of the human villains team up in a Legion of Doom style situation. Which I believe the name of that episode is the Society of Ultimate Villainy.
Silly.
SUV.
Oh.
But yes, of course, we have been Prime Cuts. You can find us on Twitter for now at Prime Cuts Pod.
Jokes. He's got jokes.
He's laughing it up. You can I'm Nero. You can find me on Twitter for now at Dragon Smoocher, on co-host at Dragon Snuggler, and on Tumblr at Cyclonus with a 5, tumblr.com. Cyclonus.tumblr.com. That's a 5 at the end.
Crushed it.
Words. You can find my various other projects in various other places. That Ready Free Heidelin, readyfreeheidlin.tumblr.com. Just published our second episode of the new format on the various like political leaders of the Eorzean Alliance and how fucked up all of that shit is just entirely. Also Talk Cycles, as I've been talking about this month, is about the 2003 Teen Titans show, the first season of that, coming soon here. That is at talk. Or I keep saying at. There's no ats on Tumblr. It's talkcycles.tumblr.com. Teen Titans is a good show, by the way. It's still good.
Yeah, no, it's a classic. That it for you?
That is it for me.
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr, Twitter, LOL. Blue Sky and co-host at Optimum on Prime. That's my funny robot internet joke. You can listen to the other show I do called Pot of Greed, which is about Yu-Gi-Oh! I haven't been able to be on in a couple weeks, but I will be on for this week's episode. I don't actually know what's going on right now because I've missed many episodes. So I think things are getting wacky. That is my understanding of it. And we're in 5Ds. I've been casting a radio drama that is being actively worked on right now, and we'll hopefully have more information soon. And I'm starting a New York foodie podcast on the Moonshot Network called I'm Eating Here. I think that's it.
Noise Space at XYZ. Look it up. Go listen to things. There's so many shows out there.
Good God. Just hours of free content for your listening ears.
You could spend 2 years of your life just listening to Noise Space, and nothing else.
I think probably more than that.
You could spend eternity. It stretches unto forever. It is the ageless void.
It is the Alpha and the Omega.
That's right.
And it's in heat.
Okay, well, until last night, streaming the weekend of the 29th with maybe a restream on October 1st.
I will not be there. I will be out of the country. Have fun.
Lucky you.
It is lucky me.
We together, the Discord listeners, we got to put our heads together and figure out where those baby Dinobots came from. I don't want to think about it.
Well, when a mommy Grimlock and a daddy Grimlock.
Where did the mommy Grimlock come from? Where did they come from? Anyway, until next time.
Two Rexes having sex.
I am going to slide into the checkout line at the Cyber Costco with my pallet full of Energon cubes to feed my hungry Seeker Legions transform and roll out.
I'm going to turn my TV on to the marathon that they keep showing of Robot West Wing. Wow. Things have really gone downhill since the writer's strike, huh? Transform and roll out.
Peach.